Okay, we'll stay on that beat because the swimming sporting code will have to go back to the drawing board heading into the next Olympics in LA. The code has been one of the sources of medals for Team South Africa over the years, especially at previous Olympics. But with the likes of Tatjana Smith having retired, Chad Le Clos in the twilight of his career, the code will have to develop youngsters now to try and emulate the previous generation of great swimmers. And to tell us more about that is Swimming SA President, Mr. Allan Fritz. He's here with us in studio during this festive period. Thank you for joining us, President, and good evening. Great to see you.
Thank you very much, and Tabisa, thanks for having me on your show.
Hope you've had a good Christmas so far and a good festive.
We did definitely have a good Christmas. A bit rainy, but it was good.
Yeah. And how was 2024 then for Swimming South Africa?
2024 was most probably one of the busiest swimming seasons for us, coming off the pandemic, COVID pandemic, and World Aquatics having a catch-up program in terms of competitions. Earlier this year in February, we were in Doha with the Long Course World Championships, and then we had our own championships down in Quebec, where our swimmers really excelled. We saw the talent coming through. So, and then we went, of course, to Paris. Paris was a good one for us, although we expected a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that just now. And of course, then we came home. Swimmers prepared for our short course championships in South Africa, and then the World Short Course Championships in Hungary, Budapest was the pinnacle for us this year. So it's all about preparations for 2028 LA. You know that Tatjana is retired,
yeah.
The star of our program. But we've seen that our depth in swimming is phenomenal. Junior ranks even more than senior ranks. But if you look at, if I could highlight maybe the World Championships long course, which is the premier event of the World Aquatics. Exceptional. If you look at Tatjana, Kaylin Corbett, Peter, the young Matthew Sades, sort of the youngsters that are coming through.
Yeah.
Rebecca Midas, maybe it's the best swimmer of her life this year. Dracopoulos, and yeah, it's just the names goes on and on and on. So we really have a good crop of athletes that participated in short course World Championships. Fantastic. Chris Smith, I think, surprised me a lot. Lara van Niekerk is definitely on her way up again, and it's good because she's a champion athlete, and we've got to put the best behind her and a coach to make sure that she's ready for LA.
You've mentioned Lara, Kaylin, and Rebecca. What's led to this turnaround, especially with the female swimmers? Because back in 2016, we had no female swimmers in the pool at the Rio Olympic Games, and all of a sudden now they are coming through.
Yes, in fact, even 2012 London, we were underrepresented, but we were severely criticized. And if you see where our women swimming are today, the likes of Kaylin, the likes of Rebecca, the likes of Rebecca Mida, and Emma also? Emma's retired now. But if you look at 8 to 10 female swimmers, world-class athletes, there's no doubt in my mind. Lara, for me, is the young gun that will surprise us all. I spoke to a coach in Budapest a couple of weeks ago, and he is really mentally there. And if a coach is mentally there, then the athlete will be mentally there. And I wish her the best of luck. Of course, Matthew Sates, a young gun. We mustn't lose sight of where he came from in terms just his performance was just absolutely world class. He's dropped off a bit, but all athletes go through that. And we will see him back.
He's still young.
He's very young.
Yeah.
And if you even look at an athlete like Michael Hooley, who's had a lot of international meets, he swam very well for me, and I was quite surprised. I thought maybe Michael is getting closer to Chad, but now, swimming in this country has been since 1992 the code that brought the most medals into our country from a podium performance point of view, and we have no doubt in our mind that we don't want to sacrifice that number one spot.
Even without Tatjana?
Even without Tatjana, I'm sure we've asked her to make some contributions to the athlete in terms of mental preparation, because she's just in a class of her own over the last maybe 10 to 12 years. But in swimming South Africa, we are quite okay where we are in terms of post-pandemic preparation. Of course, what's happening for us now is preparation, and we've got a couple of competitions as yardsticks to measure ourselves. our own national championships in April, May this year, next year, will be a very, very good yardstick to see where these youngsters are that we took to the World Championships in Budapest. Singapore long course next year is going to be a premier event for many of the athletes that participated in December in Budapest.
Yeah. And then when it comes to support, then, President, what kind of support do you get? Do you have to rely on SASCOC? Do you have to rely on the OPEX? Do you have corporate coming in just to help you with this program and help you with the next cycle? Because like you said, swimming has been the code that has been bringing back the most medals.
Yeah, look, Lotto does support us. The National Department, or DSEC as we call it, Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, does support us. We would certainly like to have a corporate sponsor on board. We don't have a corporate sponsor. It's a bit of a shame. Number one code of sport in our country doesn't have a corporate sponsor. But nevertheless, for us, it's hard work. Putting the strategies in place that will ensure that we deliver the athletes for our country, because it's all about our country. Country comes first in our books, and if you look at where these young athletes are, I can only ask that from a governmental point of view that we invest more in elite athletes, because it's elite athletes like a previous clip on the Springboks. Those elite athletes make the country proud. And for us to ensure that these athletes are at a peak in terms of their performance, we need money. There's no two ways about it. The athletes need investment, the federation needs investment, and we hope that investment will come. But the biggest drawback in our country today is facilities, of course.
Yes.
Swimming pools are disappearing, especially public communities. If it wasn't for some private communities, we would be in a bad state.
Yeah, and then when it comes to just expanding the pool of swimmers and representation, where are we when it comes to swimming?
Swimming is transforming at a rapid rate. We have seen Julia at Olympics, one of our divers. There are about 3 black divers that are fantastic. They should, all things being equal, they should make LA, and we hope for the best in terms of their preparation. Swimming, we've just come from Namibia with a junior team in terms of the Sub-Saharan Africa competition. We had the best representation of black athletes there. But if you look at senior and junior African champs, a lot of black athletes are coming through. You know, swimming is a strange sport. Yeah. You can't start when you're 16 years old. Yeah. You got to start much earlier than that. And we are quite, from a junior perspective, we are quite good in terms of representation of the demographics of our country.
I know we focus a lot on the swimming, and I'm glad you've included diving. What about water polo? Where are they now? Where is water polo now?
Water polo, we just appointed a committee to run the affairs of water polo, because water polo has got good potential in terms of producing the goods. It's a very, very big code of sport in South Africa, particularly in schools. And we've got to translate that excellence in schools into senior competitions, and that's where we're going. We have unfortunately lost a lot in terms of high performance preparation for the discipline, but all plans are being put in place now to ensure that the junior competition structures are in place, the senior competition structures are in place, the sort of representative side and competitions there where the athletes should participate in preparation for the pinnacle of sport in Los Angeles. Water polo is most probably the hardest work for us to do over the next 4 years.
Yeah, and you keep talking about LA 2028. You already have your mindset on LA. Do you have then any targets of what would make a good LA 2028 for swimming after what happened in Paris?
Look, in Paris, all things being equal, we should have had 4 medals. Peter should have maybe 100 back and 200 back. Our strategy in swimming is get the athletes in semi-finals and finals. Once they're there, anything can happen. It's because swimming is a physical as well as a mental kind of sport. With the talent that we have now, we will look at the African competitions, and of course, the best yardstick will be Singapore for us with the long course championships of World Aquatics to see where our athletes are. We should be seeing 3 or 4 or even 5 athletes coming through very, very nicely. And those will be our hopefuls in terms of Los Angeles. You can't ignore the Olympic Games. It's the pinnacle of sport. And we have all plans in place. Those plans need funding because being the best on the African continent as far as aquatic sport is concerned, is that means we can't stay local and compete locally. We got to compete globally against the best, and the best is out there in the world. So it does need serious cash injection, but in the same time, for us to ensure that we speed up the transformation of our sport, is that we've got to ask local municipalities to ensure that they build facilities, because that's where we're going to turn the tide in turning South Africa into a genuine aquatics nation.
Yeah, not only build them and also look after these facilities after they've been built. But sounds good, sounds promising, sounds very positive, President. Thank you for joining us just to do a wrap of 2024. And we wish you all the best next year, and hopefully you'll get all the support that you need.
Thank you very much, Tabiso. It's nice being on your show.
Thank you, President of Swimming in South Africa, Allan Fritz, joining us here on Sports Live.